Arda was called Iluvatar, the supreme being from which all things were created. Iluvatar, dwelling in the timeless halls, formed creatures known as the Ainur, beings of great power who joined the Creator in singing a great theme, the music of the Ainur, called the Ainulindale. This great music pleased Iluvatar until the harmony was broken. Melkor, greatest of the Ainur, infused his discord into the notes and sang a melody of aggression, waging a war of sound. The Ainur attempted to fight against his music, but Melkor was too powerful, and many of the Ainur's songs were twisted into harmony with his own. Iluvatar was angered by these actions and introduced a new theme, yet Melkor once again corrupted it. Iluvatar created a third theme of more complexity and variance, beyond what Melkor could challenge. Iluvatar made more and more music until striking one final chord to end the song and leave the timeless halls in silence. Iluvatar scolded Melkor and left the Ainur alone for a time. When he returned, he showed them what their music had created: the vision of Arda, the lands of Middle-earth and Aman, the races of elves and men, the children of Iluvatar. He showed them how each of the Ainur created elements of the vision, including the corruption of Melkor and the darkness he brought to the music. When the vision ended, the Ainur were astounded and wanted the vision to be made real. All but Melkor, who was angered by his chastisement and set himself apart from the others. The Creator responded to the pleas of the Ainur and created Ea, the universe, and within it Arda, the world, and invited the Ainur to enter it, upon the condition that once entered they could not return to the timeless halls until all that would be had ended. Many of the Ainur agreed and entered the universe. The strongest of them became the Valar, the lesser became the Maiar. The Ainur entered the universe at the beginning of time, and throughout the Valiant years, Arda was formed, with its land and sea shaped to their liking. But Melkor also entered Ea, and desired mastery over the world, and all things that were to come. He disrupted their work, and waged the first war. Though Melkor had the upper hand, he was defeated when Tulkas the Strong descended from the timeless halls to join the Valar and crush Melkor's hold on the world. Melkor fled from Arda, and for a time, there was peace. The Valar and Maiar once again took to shaping Arda, forming its land and sea. What they created was a flat world and a circular continent surrounded by ocean, a symmetrical design, with Almarin, the first home of the Valar, in its center. To complete their design, the world needed light. The Valar built two great lamps, placing Illuin in the north and Ormal in the south. It was at this time that the first plant and animal life came into existence. The Spring of Arda, as it was called, led to an explosion of life across the continent, filling the world with wondrous creatures and incredible beauty. Yet the growth of spring could not last forever. Eventually, Melkor returned to the world in secret and traveled north. There he built the fortress of Autumno, the base from which he would once again wage war on the Valar. As Melkor's influence spread, the vibrant life of Arda withered and died. Melkor's touch poisoned the works of the Valar, and he raised an army of monsters and fell creatures. He also corrupted many of the Maiar, who later became known as the Balrogs. With his armies, he attacked the Valar, shattering the lamps, destroying them, and plunging the world to darkness. Melkor's attack was mighty and shattered the continents, making three: Aman to the west, Middle-earth at the center, and the eastern lands that would later be known as the Land of the Sun. Almarin, the home of the Valar, was destroyed, and so they went west and founded Valinor in the continent of Aman. There they built two trees, Telperion and Lorelin. The trees brought light back to Aman, allowing for plant and animal life to once again flourish. During this time, Middle-earth remained in darkness and became the home of Melkor, who based himself in the north. Yet he also built a second fortress in the west, Angband, to keep watch for invasion from the Valar. He appointed his second, the Maiar Sauron, to hold the fortress and defend it in his name. With Melkor seemingly contained in Middle-earth, the Valar set to rebuilding their great works, each working in accordance with their gifts, endowed to them by Iluvatar. Manwe, Lord of the Winds, greatest of the Valar in might and authority, brother to Melkor and king of Arda. His home was found in Aman on the summit of Taniquetil, the highest mountain in the world. He created the eagles as his scouts to watch over Middle-earth. His wife Varda, the Star Queen, would bring light to the world, first in the lamps, then in the trees, and eventually in the sun and moon. Ulmo, king of the sea, was one of the chief architects of Arda and lived deep inside his waters in the great palace of Ulmoran. Aule, the smith, also called the Maker, a powerful Valar who delighted in the creation of great material works. In his impatience for the coming of the children of Iluvatar, he created the dwarves, but was forced to put them to sleep by command of Iluvatar until the coming of the children. Aule's wife, Yavanna, the giver of fruits, who created the plants and animals of the world. After her husband created the dwarves, she began to fear that they and the future children of Iluvatar might destroy her great works. And so Iluvatar answered her prayers and made the Ents, the shepherds of the forest, who would awaken at the time of the Elves to defend her plants and forests from the worst abuses of those to come. Orome, Lord of Forests, the great rider and hunter, he roamed the plains and forests of Middle-earth, battling the dark creatures of Melkor. His wife, Vanna, the ever-young, was the younger sister of Yavanna, a lover of all things that grow. It is said flowers bloomed in her presence, and it was her love for the golden tree Laurelin that preserved some of its blessed light, and aided in the creation of the sun. Namo, judge of the dead, ruler of the spirits of the deceased, who would later be called Mandos. He built mighty halls to house the elves, who might one day be slain. His wife, Vere, was called the Weaver, and wove the tapestry of life, weaving the story of the world on the walls of the Hall of the Dead. Irmo, master of dreams and illusion, later called Lorien, who, along with his brother Mandos, made the Feanturi the masters of spirits. His wife was Este, the healer of hurts and weariness. She was the Valar of Rest and watched over the wellness of all creatures. Tulkas, champion of the Valar, was the last of them to descend from the Timeless Hall, and his intervention during the First War saved the world from Melkor's corruption. He was the most warlike of the Valar, and forever was the bitterest of enemies to the Dark Lord. His wife was Nessa, the dancer, the sister of Orome. She was known for her incredible speed and her love of swift creatures, such as deer. Lastly, there was Nienna, the Lady of Mercy, the sister of Mandos and Lorien, who dwelled in her halls, feeling great sadness and pity for the tragedies of the world. The greatest of her pupils would one day become the wizard Gandalf, whose love and pity for the races of Middle-earth led him to lead the fight against the power of Sauron. Though he was not counted among the Valar, Melkor, the first Dark Lord, was the most powerful of the Ainur to come to the world. The brother of Manwe, he set himself upon a ruinous path as the enemy of the Valar by means of his selfish and destructive nature. With the world shaped and Arda prepared for the coming of the children, Varda, the wife of Manwe, sought to bring light back to Middle-earth. She set to her labors, creating the stars in the sky. In an era known as the noontide of the blessed, she returned illumination to the lands of the east. And it is said at that same moment, the first of the children, known later as the Elves, rose and walked the lands of Middle-earth.